Hey guys, a few days ago I had made a video talking about the Cthulhu theme that's all throughout Shadows of Evil. It was a part 1 talking about things about Shadows of Evil that you guys may or may not know. And this video here is part 2 to that. In the first video I talk all about how the monsters inside Shadows of Evil relate to Cthulhu, and how I know a guy that is an artist, and for years now he's been drawing these Cthulhu monsters. I was able to find most of Shadows of Evil's creatures inside his drawings except for one, and that was the Margwa. I mentioned it to him and he was like, oh, you know what, I actually have that. I drew that a couple of years ago and this is what it looks like here. And he describes it as just one of the Mythos Endless Legion of other dimensional horrors and calls it the Devourer. So you can see that the 3 heads are definitely similar. The body's a little bit different, but you get the idea of what Treyarch was probably trying to copy. The next thing I want to show you guys is what happens when you have the Wonder Weapon and then also another weapon that's Pack-a-Punch with an alternative ammo type. During all of the confusion about trying to get this Wonder Weapon upgraded, something had happened where somebody was standing in front of the Pack-a-Punch and they noticed that one of the zombies got sucked into like the portal area of the Pack-a-Punch. And you can see the picture here, it's actually one of the turn zombies and he's getting sucked into it right there. A lot of people were questioning, is this the way to maybe upgrade the Wonder Weapon? Do you have to feed zombies to the Pack-a-Punch machine or something? The truth is it actually has nothing to do with the Pack-a-Punch machine and everything to do with the Wonder Weapon and then the other gun that you're holding if it has an alternative ammo type on it. I'll show you the same type of animation that happened in this video here. If you shoot zombies and actually electrocute them with a dead wire add-on and then quickly switch to your Wonder Weapon, then what will happen is that zombie that's being electrocuted will sometimes give the animation that they're being sucked into that vortex or like that portal of the Wonder Weapon. So it's like that zombie is taking on both animation qualities. They're getting the dead wire and they're also getting that vortex from that Wonder Weapon. And you can see here the zombie got like vortexed into the side of the burlesque building. This little animation trick is actually kind of useful and works really well with the blast furnace and Wonder Weapon combination. If you set a bunch of zombies on fire and while they're burning switch to the Wonder Weapon, it's gonna get rid of them very quickly. It's gonna look like that vortex animation and just like clear them all out really quickly. So it might help you to like speed through some rounds, and plus it just looks really cool. This next thing I want to show you might be a really big coincidence, but I still wanted to show you guys this. If you go into the boxing gym, there's all these boxing pictures on the wall and there's this one banner that has Roman numerals on the bottom of it. It doesn't have any names on it and the pictures are just white silhouettes. All the other boxing posters do identify like certain boxers that are going to be in a match together, but this one doesn't say anything. I found out that the Roman numerals mean 1927, and I wanted to look back in history to see if there was any important fights that year, and there actually was. There was a World Championship boxing match. It happened on September 22nd, 1927, and they called it the Long Count Fight, or the Battle of the Long Count. This was one of the more popular and also controversial fights in history. Another interesting thing is that it actually took place in Chicago, and that's where Shadows of Evil is based on, like, you know, Chicago 20s and 30s. But I think one of the most interesting things about this fight is that one of the boxers' names was Dempsey, and he was one of the really big sports legends back in the 1920s. This long count fight was the boxing rematch between him and a world heavyweight champion, Gene Tunney. Long count is applied to the fight because a referee apparently took longer than usual to count to 10 while Tunney was down, unfairly giving him extra time to recover and then going on to win the fight. And there's a huge debate throughout history whether this long count actually affected the outcome of this fight. But this could be just a huge coincidence, but Dempsey is not a very popular name and it just so happens to be the name of one of the boxers that had a really important fight that year. The next thing I want to show you guys is about the Apothicon language. I think I've translated probably 99% of every symbol that's on the map and have gotten absolutely nowhere with this. But there is one thing that may be useful in the future if they do give us some more clues about what some of these symbols mean. If you look at the symbols on the front of the mystery box and then, you know, look at them translated and you read them from right to left, it does kind of make sense. So there could be some assumption here that this language is meant to read from right to left, like completely backwards. So if we do get some more clues from Treyarch about some of these symbol translations, or if this language is in future maps, then we'll know that it's a possibility that we do need to read it from right to left. The last thing I want to show you guys, and this isn't a big deal, it. I just think it's really cool. If you look on that translation chart that Treyarch gave us, you'll notice under the creatures that the mystery box is actually categorized as a creature and not put under the list of like nouns with like doors and perks and things. If you take a close look at this mystery box, then you can tell that this thing is the mother to the parasites. It actually like has the cocoons inside of it, you can see on the front. And if you look at the back of the box, you can see a spinal cord going all the way down. It almost looks like some muscle fibers as well. You can only see the back of this box really well whenever it's in the footlight area. And when you look at the parasites, you can see like the spinal vertebrae going down, like kind of the tail of the parasite matching the back of that box. Also on the front of the box, you can see that the parasites are cocooned inside of that yellow acid, and you also see that, you know, them spitting that, and also inside of the Margwa head is that yellow acid. I just thought this was really cool because I was always like, what in the hell is this box? It's so bizarre, but it makes sense now to know that it's like the mother of these things. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. Stay tuned for the clip of the day, and we'll see you guys next video.